Okay.
Hello, my name is Elisabeth Steinmetz and I'm here to interview Karin Weyrich. Hello, Karin.
Hello, Elizabeth. Nice to see you again.
I'm so happy to have you here in this call. Today, we want to know more about your job. You have a very interesting job as a coach. What would you call yourself? How would you call your job?
Well, I think I'm kind of an assistant or accompany somebody or guide someone to their inner essence or to their wherever they want to go to.
Mm-hmm. And you have focused on a very special topic in this connection. So it's relationships and sexuality in relationships. So this is very interesting. I do not really know what issues I could come to you. So with what issues can I come to you when we talk about relationships and sexuality?
Well, if your relationship has changed and there is something what you are missing after some years, you think there is something missing. It could depend on the sexuality. Very often, the sexuality changes, and if there are two partners, everybody has a changing, and after a while, it doesn't match anymore. And we could check out why it doesn't match us, what has changed, and what could be rechanged again. And the other part is the relationship. What visions do you have, and what visions does your partner has, and what has changed in your lifestyle, in your wishes and visions. And
I
yeah.
think that it's a very interesting uh, point you mentioned here, that visions are important for sexuality and relationship. But first, I would like to, I can understand that you must have some kind of focus where you go together as in a partnership, maybe. Um, would you say that if you do not have, like, when you're young, maybe you plan to have the kids and so on, is that what you mean with vision, or what is that vision for you?
that is that's right what you say. When young people, well, very often they meet, and then they have these traditional visions. We build a house, and we plant a tree, and this stuff, and then we will have a child, and and then they have a focused vision, both of them. But after a while, the children were older, and well, there start some new visions, and they are sometimes not connected. You don't have the same. You don't have to have the same visions as your partner, but some main vision should be in a connection. If not, the relationship will not go on smooth anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And
Is there a vision, for example, would a vision also be that we want to get old together, or
well,
something that,
that's
or
not
what do
so
you
very
mean?
that's sorry, that vision, we want to get all together. I think many people have this, but it's not the most constructive vision. You could have something like, well, we both want to be at Greenpeace and want to help the world become clean and healthy again. Or we have a vision, we want to make some kind of sports, we go hiking in the mountains, or we have a certain um, we have certain how do you say, food you prefer, and you grow and you support the production. You have anything where you are connected with. And even if you only start to go jogging every day, and you jog for, you have to have something what is aligned, and if there is nothing, then the relationship will just go apart. And in the
Mm-hmm.
sexuality it's the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so let's talk about sexuality. You said there might be some changes. Do you think, or did you find out in your work that there are in certain stages or at certain ages certain changes, or how would you describe these changes in sexual partnerships that can happen?
Wow, that's very, very complex, it depends how children grow up nowadays. It's very different than, let's say, 50 or 70 years ago. In those old days, children were small, they were playing together, even without clothes, and just um, finding out what's the difference, and very playful. And nowadays it's prohibited to do this, and that's the first lacking. Children have not the chance to play together with their bodies, and erforschen. What's erforschen?
Explore.
Explore. They can't explore each other anymore, and it's a really big lack. And then they have to start exploring when they are 20. And some people, they start to explore when they're 70, because they have never had this chance to explore. And it's very important for the growth of the body and the sexual energy. And there there are so many individual things, and you cannot say uh, it's this state and that. It just depends on how they grow up and how they are connected, and how were they trained by their parents. It's so many difference, and nowadays it's very, very obvious. Sexuality is something very open-minded in the media, but it's really not. It's not at all. There's so much. There's even not a language that you can speak. You have, every couple has to find their own sexual language, and most of them, they don't have any. They can't talk about sex, and that's very nice to find words for certain things and doings, and personal words. And there's so much how do you say, there's so much nobody knows.
Mm-hmm. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
But I do have the feeling that young people, maybe not only young people, but do not really know how to interact, because they send like naked pictures of body parts in the very first messages. And you also find that among older people. So there is a trend towards, superficial openness, or at least it gives the impression of being open, dealing in that way. So how do you perceive that as well, or what do you think is the reason for this kind of rude
that's that's
communication?
that's just what I think it's just what I said. There is the urge to have sexual experience, and you can't get them. And then you go over all borders, and you send these pictures, because you have swallowed your needs down for decades, for
Mhm.
decades. And now we have this particular situation now, with this lockdown worldwide. And even more, you have to swallow down your needs. Most people, they don't have sex anymore, and some, they get really crazy. And if they have one idea, you can meet someone, they just urge out and post some stuff, and they have never, yeah, it's a reaction out of lacking, you know.
Mhm. And if how would you help then a person find the pleasure in sexuality again and find a healthy way dealing with needs? Because if I'm, as you said, I had never the chance to explore myself as a
Yeah.
child, and also later on, nobody really, or somehow I just couldn't find out how to deal in the right way with my sexuality. How would you help them, these people?
It's not
Because you
so
have a special
easy.
gift.
I,
You
what
told
did you say?
you have this special gift of knowing where it comes from. You told me before the interview, feeling where the real problem is, kind of.
Yeah, well, if somebody is, I think some women, they do easier with their body. So, most women are more connected to their body than men, and for a man, it's not easy if I tell them, well, start to just to touch yourself, not only on your genitals, on your penis, but also on your knees and your tights, on your legs, and just start to touch and to stroke yourself, and maybe sometimes you just touch your face, and or not only to rub some cream, just to feel yourself and start with your body. It's in the beginning it might be very boring, you know. I think for most people it's boring, and start with a part of your body, except your penis. Of course you can your penis all the time touch, but start with a body part what you like to touch and what's easy for you to touch, and do this all the time, and do it very, very slow, and sometimes just leave your hand and feel the heat of your hand, and start to explore your body as a stranger with your hands. That's one idea how you can start with it, you know. It's not easy, I know, if but
Yes,
it's a
but
way you can start.
I can imagine for men, when you say that it sounds now boring, what would be a motivation? What can you tell us? What is the positive outcome of getting more in touch with oneself?
Well, you could book me, and I can teach you how to touch your body, you know. I can tell you, and I can even um, help you to feel your body. I ask you, what do you feel? Feel your heat? Feel you something vibration, or is it this way, that way? Where is it? And I can guide you through your body, and because I can feel when you touch your body, I can feel with you, and
Even when you're not in the room,
yeah,
you
even
are
if I'm not,
online
yeah,
booking as well.
if you,
So this is the important thing. Wherever you live, you can still
yeah.
book Karin because she can help you also online.
If you are here like Elizabeth, I can feel you. If you are honest to me, if you don't tell me stories, if you are honest, and even if you are not honest, I can feel it, you know.
Mhm.
And then I can guide you through your body, and you can get a different um,
Perception.
perception of your body after some time. I think,
And
yeah.
you also told about some very interesting orgasmic experiences that can happen then. So you can have experience orgasm on a totally different level
Yeah,
when you are in that way connected to yourself, your essence,
yeah.
and your body.
Well, there
So
are there
I
are
think
different orgasmic types, you know, from the medicine wheel. There are 9 different orgasmic types, and
wow.
yeah, and therefore you there is a lot to explore, you know, and I can guide you. And many people think men can't have a whole body orgasm. It's not true. I can guide you to go in this direction. And even men can experience multiple orgasm and a whole body orgasm. It's not true that men are not open for it. They are just, maybe they have to train a little bit more, to explore a little bit more, but some men are more open than other, but everybody has the chance.
Great. Is there a certain age limit? Like, I mean, when you're older, isn't it then more difficult to experience this type of orgasm, or is it still possible, like if you're 70 or something?
I think even if you're older, as a man, and you get softer in your mind, and also somehow in your thinking and your feeling and in your body, it could be easier to go into this. You're more open, you're more permeable, your body is more permeable. And if you are younger, as a young boy from 17, 18, it's very solid, the body is very strong, very muscular, and very often not so permeable, and yeah, it's I think if somebody is older, I think it could be easier, but it's so individual.
Yeah.
If somebody has the 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 wish and the aim to go somewhere, if somebody wants to experience something, then he will get it. If somebody comes and has no idea, it's more difficult to go there.
It's always about what you really want,
Yeah,
isn't it?
if somebody has already the impression and the intention to go somewhere, then it's possible. Everything what you can imagine and visualize, you will go. You will pretty soon you will be there.
So if a couple would book your coaching, and let's say they have issues with their sexuality, maybe they do not want to have sex anymore. You told me that you have the special gift of feeling where the problem is. Can you tell me more about that, so that you kind of feel them and know where the issue is from, where the problem is?
Sometimes you have to look at the issue, at the source, but sometimes you start with it and the source will open by itself. And sexuality is in our culture something very limited in our perception, in our meaning. It's just having intercourse, but if there is a couple, they don't have to want to have intercourse anymore, I just can guide them to touch each other in a way what is not demanding, what's not urging, and their self, they are so in their routine, they don't get it. But if I tell them, just I give them some roles how they do it, and they can really learn touch different. They get out of their routine touching. And that's, I could teach or guide a couple per internet how they start tonight a new connection with their bodies, very different, and they make a new experience as they were a new couple.
Great. What I would like to ask you now is, you mentioned something important now. I think intercourse is not the same as real sexual connection. What do you think? How would you explain to somebody who says, okay, what do you mean I'm just having intercourse? How would you explain the difference? Or what does real sex mean for you? How is the connection different to just the physical act?
The only difference is the heart, you know. There are so many techniques and they're really fun to play with. But if you want to have really good sex, you have to open your heart. That's the only secret. Only. If you
That's
don't know any technique and your heart is endlessly open, you have the best sex in the world. And it doesn't matter the person if your heart is open. And if your heart is not open and you know many techniques, the sex will always be nothing special.
Thank you, Karin. I think that was a nice word for the end. Thank you very much.
Thank
You
you.
can book Karin. Just click on the link below or above. You will find it. Thank you, Karin.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth.